Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore!
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Out of Patience. My guest today is Ilaria Montagnani. I learned how to speak that because she's from Italy. She speaks perfect English, but it's just so easy to botch these things. And yes, toward the end of the show, I abused her accent and made her say Parmesan and mozzarella. She is a 2-time breast cancer survivor, but more importantly, she is like a crazy, amazing fitness coach. And she reminded me of Uma Thurman's character in Kill Bill. She doesn't quite wield the Deadpool swords, but she is a sword trainer. But she's been a fitness coach and basically a modern-day Jane Fonda to tens of thousands of women about health and wellness. And having gone through this experience, anyone can get sick, but come on, like, you're in your peak condition, and God, there's just no mercy in this world. But she came in the studio. We had a wonderful conversation about perseverance. There's a documentary about her. She is just a stellar human being with a great story to share. And it was a privilege to have her here and to share her story with you. So without further ado, Ilaria Montagnani. Did I say that right? Here we go. So I'm going to say Ilaria, because I'm not going to channel my, that's a spicy meatball from, Jim Carrey in The Mask. And I'm going to botch your last name on purpose so you can correct me in an embarrassing American way. Montagnani?
Montagnani. Very good,
okay.
Actually. Very good.
You did coach me before. I'm going to say I cheated a little bit here. Founder of Power Strike, black belt in I Can Kill a Man 9 Ways from Sunday. And you're in the regrettable documentary Stronger for Life because you had breast cancer. Not once, but because... once is never enough. Clearly, never enough. So actually, how many ways can you kill a man? Or how many men have you killed for looking at you the wrong way in the alley?
Never.
Okay.
I've been always very nice.
All right, good. Because, one might be intimidated by your statute. You are. I mean, like, you just look at your photos. It's like, I don't know, looking like Bruce Lee or something like that. I mean, good for you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
My obvious first question I ask of anyone on the show who's always very athletic and takes care of themselves is, how the hell did you get cancer, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
That was my first question to myself, too.
Yes.
And then when I got it the second time, I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I've learned that cancer really does not discriminate. You hear that sentence all the time. And I was very surprised when I got cancer the first time. I thought they were wrong. I thought the doctor had something wrong.
Did you feel a lump or something?
No, actually I did. I felt a lump. I self-diagnosed and I felt it. But really it was, I don't want to say denial, but close to that, because I always had a very healthy lifestyle, not only exercising, but health in terms of eating, not drinking. So I'm like, this must be something wrong, like a cyst, nothing big deal. So I waited. And then finally, I was like, I think I have to get a test. But even when they told me, and I saw their eyes when they test you, like, we need to do a biopsy. I was like, okay, no big deal.
Right.
I went in like, okay, like really like nothing. And when they called me, because actually they didn't tell me in person, they actually called me and I got the phone call. I was like, you have cancer. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Were you stateside or were you in Italy?
I was actually here. I lived most of my life here, even though all my relatives and my family is in Italy. So no, I was here.
But you could channel some mean Italian accent if you want, right? Like when you get angry, do you just road rage in Italian?
Well, I don't even know how to swear in English that well.
Okay.
It's still better to swear in your own language. So I can swear a lot in Italian.
Does everyone know you're Italian? Or like, you ever like just see a street argument and you chime in like, oh, you speak Italian? It's like Jewish. You're like, you speak Hebrew? Yeah.
No, it has not happened that often here. No.
Well, we have the same culture. It's food and guilt, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
We do.
A lot of similarity. In Indian culture too, food, guilt, large weddings.
And moms.
Yes.
And moms.
And our own version of the best pastas.
Well, we think we do, but
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Jewish pasta is basically kugel, noodle pudding. That's all we got.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
all good there. So were you ever told it's probably nothing, or was it straight out, you have this and like, what do I do right now? Were you whisked away to all the things that could help you, or was it like just this staged angst for too long?
The first time that I was told that I had cancer, you mean? Yeah. I was, no, I was first of all, I was really very surprised. So it took me a little bit to kind of like understand what really that meant. Mm-hmm. And I was lucky enough that I had my brother here that was visiting. It was just visiting, and he was about to leave because his plane. And I just called him and I said, Lorenzo, I just got a call. They told me I have cancer. Still like not like convinced that they were correct.
Right.
Stupidly. So I had some support right around the days that you were told, because it is a whirlwind. Then you don't know what to do. You don't know which doctor to go to. You don't know. I was like, now what do I eat? My brother is
right. Can I keep working out?
Can I keep working? I really, and you go through all of the phases of denial, anger, why me, what's going on, defeat, sadness, obviously, all of that, until you kind of like shake yourself out, and then you're like, okay, this is. Once I figured out what to do, which doctor and hospital to do it with, I got much calmer. But the process of getting to that was very tumultuous, and it did not make me feel good. That was really I would say that's the worst part.
Right, the unknown.
The unknown.
You just drop off a cliff. There's no rope. There's no handrail. There's no nothing.
You know well. Yes.
I was diagnosed 30 years ago on a Post-it note, pretty much. I went in for a brain scan because I had all these weird symptoms, misdiagnosed for months. And my listeners probably know this ad nauseum by now, but I went out to lunch with my mom after the scan. We got home and the answering machine was blinking.
Yeah.
Yeah. A very Gen X thing to say about 1995.
True.
And please come back. We found something in your brain. Like, thank you very much for the voicemail.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you feel like you were treated with a level of empathy, like a person, or did you have like mechanical cancer doctors and whatnot?
I experienced both. And I went to the doctor and the hospital, Montagnani, that felt a little more kind toward me and talked to me as a human being, as opposed to just another case. But I also experienced trying to have more than one opinion. The second possible that was actually very highly recommended, amazing hospital. The lucky thing that we have in situations like this is being in your city. So there's plenty of doctors, plenty of great
strategic home field advantage.
Yes. But definitely I also experienced the side where you are just a case. This is what happens to you. And they got me also really scared. You're never going to do. One of the things that I teach is with swords. So obviously I raise my arm often with a weapon, so with some weight. Never mind the actual strength training, which I don't think they really understood, but that they were like, you're not going to be able to do certain things after, even when you'll be fine.
Quick note: across maybe 2,000 episodes of my podcasting since 2007, no one's ever said the word "I wield swords." So congratulations on being the first. Go on.
Wood swords.
Yes.
Most times. But so yes, at the time when the doctor delivered this kind of news, which it's my life, you're telling me that I'm not going to be able to do. I know it seems like, okay, it's not a big deal. You're going to survive. So what's, but surviving.
Be lucky you're alive.
You're lucky you're alive, which it still is is a hard thing to grasp. And I understand that much better when I was diagnosed the second time. But the first time it was really like, what are you telling me that I cannot do these things afterwards? So, but if you guys do operate on me and you tell me that it's treatable, why then are you scaring me with all these other things?
I think it's their job to defend themselves against like wanting to be wrong.
Probably.
Which is, I think, just the hubris of an unfortunately maybe disproportionate percentage of doctors. Yeah, never tell anyone they can't do something. They had told me, you'll never play piano again, you'll never walk again, you'll never have kids, you'll never have a normal life. And like, fuck you, 29 years later, I turned out okay somehow.
Yeah.
What else did they tell you you'd never do again?
Well, they scare me a lot with the edema, like your lymph. We don't know how many lymph nodes we're going to take out. So we don't know how much your arms might be swelling, like you might not be able to have your normal life back. But even regardless what they said, then you start to play all these weird case scenarios in your head, obviously. So you really don't know until you're on the other side, which is the main reason why I wanted to do a documentary about it. My philosophy throughout life and throughout, obviously, you talk about a job, but it's really my life, which is motivating other people to work out.
Well, you've been doing this, I read, since like the mid-90s, right?
Yeah, so it's over 30 years that I'm doing this.
Yeah.
And
I can't tell. You look terrible.
Thank you.
On the radio.
On the radio. So one of the reasons, the reason why I wanted to do the documentary was to really document what is going to happen to someone that is a trained athlete, basically. How will that affect my life moving forward? Am I going to be able to come back to what I used to know? What is going to be my limitation after? How long am I going to be stuck into a place that I don't even know what is my place?
Right.
But not being able to do a lot of things that are my life. And so I wanted to document that. And that's the main reason why I started filming my process. Because I started from the very, very beginning. Like, you're told that you have cancer.
Right in.
I jumped right in. I had other plans to film something slightly different, and then
the script changed.
Completely changed. So we're like, okay, let's keep filming. And that's how the whole thing started.
I read that you were given the option of a single or double mastectomy.
Correct. So
tell us that story.
Yeah. So the first time I was diagnosed on my right side. And of course, I did all the genetic testing.
Are you a lefty or a righty?
I'm a right.
Okay.
I'm a right-handed, and I was diagnosed on my right side. And the doctor that I decided to go the mastectomy with, she said, Ilaria, maybe you should consider doing both. Couldn't do the Angelina Jolie kind of thing.
Oh, God.
And I was like...
That's a different podcast.
Yes, but I was like, why should I do both? I mean, if just one is affected and your genetic testing comes back completely clear, and there is no family history of, breast cancer... I thought about it a lot, but I was like, no, let me just do one side. And lo and behold, then 7 years later.
You were betrayed.
I was betrayed, and he came on the other side as well. So,
I mean, for what it's worth, I've heard stories of double mastectomies and they still get cancer later again.
Unfortunately, yes.
Because there's no such thing as getting it all.
Correct. In fact, when they did the second surgery, they revisit everything on the first side. So it was a full blown out surgery my second time around, just to make sure there was as little tissue as possible.
And then you had to make a whole new documentary.
No, and then I decided after this is really not my job. I did not realize how complex and how hard. So God bless everybody that is in this industry, because it was really hard to do the documentary.
I resonate with your story, I think, more than I expected to, because I was a professional concert pianist and a film composer for many years.
Wow.
And I was going to go to grad school to write for Hollywood. That was my dream, to be that. And I lost the ability to play. And they said I'd never play again.
Mm-hmm.
And what I had to do to regain what cancer took away from me took me 5 years of rehabilitation, because I had been professionally studying since I was 11 years old at the time. And every time I hear about an artist or an athlete who spent their lives just manifesting their dreams to be in peak performance condition for what they were passionate about, and that gets potentially taken away from them. I want to talk about your fears in that moment. Would I ever be wielding swords again?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yes, my biggest fear was what will happen to me afterwards. But my motto has always been, exercise makes you stronger for life, which is the title of the movie. And I always saw in other people how exercise really affected their life. I see it in myself every single day, but I've never seen it to an extent of this level of challenge. And I had no expectations on, will this my philosophy that I've given to everybody, this motivation that I've always told people, look, with exercise, you're going to be better. You're going to feel better no matter what. Will that work for me? Or am I gonna, not only physically, but also mentally, especially emotionally, am I gonna be a different person afterwards?
Right.
And yes, I was a little bit of a different person afterwards. Obviously, I can't say that, it didn't affect me and everything was, but I think I was a better person afterwards.
Well, I mean, it's always the gift that I never want to give anybody.
Correct. But then, and he's also not trying to be positive, fake up the positivity of it. But first of all, I was lucky. Mine was treatable. Mm-hmm. If it would not have been treatable, obviously it's different. And it was treatable in a way that I was able to rehabilitate myself, although maybe not 5 years like yourself, but it took a long time. Mm-hmm. And no, I'm not the same as I used to be, but it's okay. it's okay.
So I was given like Chernobyl levels of brain radiation because there was no chemotherapy that treated what I had back then. And the doctors were like, yeah, you probably have IQ to spare. Like, that's a terrible way to put it. Did anyone say to you, it's a good thing you're fit to be going through cancer? Because walking in being unhealthy probably predisposes you to a poor outcome, says me with no data to support that.
No, they actually never said that.
Okay.
And but that's one of the conclusions that I came to afterwards, and now especially, that no, being this healthy or supposedly not healthy but fit does not prevent you to get sick. It doesn't. And for a little while, I got angry, especially with my diet. I've been vegetarian for many years. I'm like, what the hell with that? Now I'm going to eat whatever I want.
Burgers,
drink. What's the point? That didn't last. It lasted like a couple of days. It was more out of obviously.
It was delicious for a short time.
But yes, it was always delicious. But you do realize that actually coming into an illness, and in my case, your case is as cancer, but it doesn't have to be just cancer. But coming into any illness healthy or with a stronger body will definitely, there's absolutely no doubt, will help you on the other side.
Did you have to change your nutritional regime under treatment or any time after? Like how disrupted were you from a lifestyle perspective? Obviously with treatments and everything, but you're so used to being in this mindset.
Yeah, I was actually disrupted because especially the second time I decided to be less disrupted and go a little less crazy about everything. But the first diagnosis, I was like, really like, oh, now what? Like, you hear like maybe juice. Okay, maybe I'll just do juice and carrot juice. I've heard. Oh, then they talk to you about maybe South America. They have this mushrooms. And so I did go crazy. I'm like, okay, absolutely no gluten, no coffee.
It's a rabbit
no chocolate. Oh my God, it feeds on sugar. No sugar whatsoever. Then I cannot have no. So I did drive myself even crazier.
Yeah.
And I don't think at that point that made much of a difference in my case, at least in mine. I'm not saying, but in mine didn't. It only drove me a little bit more crazy. The second time around when I was diagnosed, again, they're the better part of knowing because you had it once before.
Yeah,
and
you went to Cancer University.
I went to Cancer University, which has some good parts.
Your master's degree prepared.
Yes. But one thing that did prepare me the second time, I did not go as crazy about my food and my nutrition.
Well, I want to get to that in the second half of the show. So we're going to take a quick break and be right back with, I'm going to pull a Jewish accent here. Ilaria Montagnani. That was the worst rabbi. All right, we're done. We'll be back in a second. I'm sorry. Was there ever a point, I hate the term like new normal. No one's ever reinvented a better way to say like, did you get your shit back together? And no one's really ever the same after it. But was there a moment where you felt like you got enough of you back that you felt okay with your life for the time being?
Yes. However, as you may be familiar, so maybe if I repeat it, I'm sorry, you're given a medication after you have breast cancer.
Yes.
Not everybody, but most women, tamoxifen.
Yes.
And tamoxifen propels you into menopause, and it has a boatload of side effect. Yep. And I was in the highest dose, is sometimes 5 or 10 milligrams. I was on 20 milligrams.
Holy Christ.
Per 10 years, not even 5 or 7.
Yeah, that'll muck you up.
Exactly. So it was definitely a new normal. And it's not only the cancer per se, the surgery, the recovering from a pretty invasive surgery, being a physical person, but then having that every day, that really, so the new normal, whether I like it or not, it was definitely a different normal.
All right, so let's talk about like public image. You have a massive public image. You've been doing this for a long time. You're very well known. If people know of you, you are very well known.
Thank you.
And here you are getting sick and trying to maintain maybe that resilience or giving people confidence. Did you ever get a sense like people will lose faith in me because this happened to me? Or was that not even in your mind and you bounced right back and like, oh, you're so strong, but you look great?
The so strong or you look great bothered me because I think it came always from a good place. But at the time, I didn't want to hear that because I wasn't strong. You learn how strong you are when you go through things like this. It's easy to be strong when everything goes well. When when you feel good, when you're young, when you look good, when you have success, when things are going great. So to be told, well, you are strong, so you're going to go through this, no problem. You're going to come out on the other side. It felt so shallow to me. I wanted to hear from people that had gone through the same thing. And at the time, there was one person that reached out to me and said, hey, I've had it. One day you will look back and you will be like, this is a distant memory. And I was like, if somebody that has had that, this and can tell me this is who I want to hear. These are the words of the people that I will listen to.
Right. Because my question was like, did you bump into other communities? Did you happen to find out about like peer support groups? Or, I mean, there's breast cancers everywhere on this planet. There's 10,000 organizations. Did anyone in particular show up at your doorstep that you found a home with?
No, actually.
Wow.
But I did know, but I also did not search much. Mm-hmm. I think my way to cope with all of that was shooting a documentary. Shooting a documentary kind of made me distant and gave me a mission to feel myself that I almost wasn't myself. Mm-hmm. So in that case was very helpful to, okay, we have to shoot this. We're going to hospital to give blood. And now there's this exam. And now there's that exam. The camera is there. And it did not bother me.
Was that a whole crew or like an iPhone selfie?
It was very limited. It was very
like Blair Witch found footage?
No, yeah, but it was very discreet. It never bothered me. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to turn into like a Kardashian. That kind of thing. No, not at all. Never like that.
Well, the documentary is called Stronger for Life or Just Stronger Than the Rest of Us. No. Tell us the truth.
No, I'm not stronger than none of them. In fact, when the first time I was diagnosed, I went to a really dark place for a couple. I'm sure you understand that. And in your case, much bigger. Because again, being told you have breast cancer, I kept thinking there are thousands of women that get breast cancers. And my surgeon gave me a lot of confidence in the way she talked to me about breast, kind of like, this is what she does. 3 days a week, she cuts boobs.
Yeah.
Left and right, literally. I'm like, 3 days a week? And you work 5 days a week? And this is all you do? And you've been doing for over 20 years? So I'm one of the many. I'm just a number. But I still got...
Oh, honey, you're not a number.
You know what I mean. So even though you know that it's treatable and most people no problems, but I went to a really dark place. And so at that time, I don't think I would have been responsive to any organization or anybody that. Right. And my family was very helpful. I actually went to Italy just to go to Italy and and when I was there, it was nice because they didn't know. Or, I mean, my family did, but they didn't know. You're eating pasta. It doesn't matter if there's sugar or not. Yeah. So you're eating everything normal. And then after that was
and the
surgery.
food's so much better there anyway. I will attest to that.
Well, my mom is a delicious cook. So all of that. And then as soon as I came back, it was surgery. Yeah. So it kind of like, that was very helpful.
What was the reaction to the documentary and how did you get it on Apple TV? That's pretty amazing.
I found a distributor, actually. I don't ask me those kind of like technical questions because honestly, had I known how hard it is to shoot a documentary and everything that goes into that, I would not have done it. This is like never again. This is kind of like bless of the the unknown, and you're just kind of like, let's shoot and see what happens.
Right. So, what is this is just my natural as a somewhat in Yiddish we say zaftig. Zaftig means not fat, but not thin, and could be in better shape kind of guy, like 20 pounds over for his entire life. What is your regimen these days? I mean, again, cancer once, cancer twice. Yeah. What are you doing these days that is different or better?
Physically, nothing. I'm still exercising every day. I train 7 days a week. I teach my classes to a very large community, no matter what. And so I've been lucky that I've been able to bounce back both times. First time I can bounce back a little bit too quick, but that helped me to deal with what I was going through. So it was everything. The first time was about come back to it as normal as you can, as soon as you can, as normal as you can, as soon as you can. The second time it was like, listen, this is going to change you. It's changed you once. Just recognize it, accept it, go slowly with it, recover. But even more was physical, because I realized the importance of being physical to recover physically, literally my body to heal, and mentally. So that hasn't really changed. I have limitations. I'm a little maybe slower. I'm also older, so all of that gets affected.
We don't age. People
we
like
don't age.
us,
We don't age.
I'm
Okay,
29
you're right.
for life, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
We don't age, of course. But even more so, I am absolutely adamant that we have to train. I think my message has changed, younger. Before it was like, you have to do this. It's all like very extreme and very long. Otherwise it doesn't matter. And now I'm like, you know what? Even 15 minutes a day, first of all, everything matters. Everything matters. So whatever you can do, whatever is your level, do it. If you can, strength training. I've always had the message to anybody, men and women, but especially women, because guys are a little bit more prone to that. Strength training. Being in a strong body, you're always going to be better.
Yeah. I lost 40 pounds between June of 2023 and June of 2024.
Congratulations.
I had to throw money at the problem, but I hired a trainer. I went to a gym. I had a fitness coach.
Good.
And I had a nutritionist. Not that I didn't know how to eat well, but I just needed the motivation to do it. And I have a core now. I don't look like I have a core now, but I have not a Ben & Jerry's core either. I have a real core.
Yeah.
I learned how to plank, and I learned how to do the low planks.
Yeah.
And
don't you feel better?
I feel better, but things still hurt. That's the thing.
Yes.
It doesn't stop the aging
No,
process.
It doesn't. And I have plenty of, there's not a day that I wake up that I'm not hurting.
Yes.
I think the day that I wake up, I'm hurting. That's it. But no, so I'm always hurting, but I'm hurting and I'm not hurting. If I wasn't training, I would be hurting a lot more.
Right.
And also, now that I'm getting older, you see older people, you see the generation before you, and you realize, oh my God, they have not trained. They are not mobile as much as they should.
Right.
Look at the difference between an 80-year-old and an 80-year-old. Look at so I look at all of that, and I'm really adamant about encouraging, especially my older population that takes class with me, but even the younger one, because it's like money in the bank. Start training. Put strength in your bones now, strengthen your muscle now.
Yeah.
You're just going to be better later on and now.
Well, I just turned 50, and as a birthday present, I needed readers. I have a knot in my lat. I'm pointing on the radio to my right lat.
Okay.
That will not go away no matter what I do with OT and PT.
Got it.
And my left knee is clicking.
You're lucky. That's nothing.
Good problems to have, though, 30
Yes.
years later after treatment. Going back to the theme of you're so brave, how many other women have you met or met you that have this similar story, and what has that meant to you to be part of the community that you never really expected to ever be a part of?
Correct. Many. I've met many. I've seen many. I know of many, of not just breast cancer. And so again, I consider myself on the very lucky side of the people that have experienced cancer. I am shocked by the amount of people that are getting diagnosed with cancer. Shocked. Yes.
So Power Strike
Yes.
is the name of your company.
Yes.
30 years old.
Yes.
You must be very proud that it's still around and thriving.
Yes, I am.
So tell us about what you offer people, because I want to make this a bit of an advertorial. If anyone isn't in enough shape or is interested in getting in shape, and you are
Yes.
a role model for us.
Thank you.
And I'm going to just decree you can kill a man 9 ways to Sunday.
Yeah, no. I don't teach that.
I know.
I know. I'm just joking. But I used to teach self-defense
Yes.
because I think it's very important for women, but I don't do it right now. I have a website, powerstrike.com, where they can access my workout online, and they can do it live with me because I work out with people. I don't just bark at them and tell them what to do. I always sweat with you guys. We are suffering together.
Right.
So we are getting stronger together. So they have options on the website.
This is always like a bit of shame, right? I at the gym, like when the first time I went to the gym with my trainer, he's like, some of these muscle-bound guys are going to just stare at you.
No, yeah.
Don't feel judged. Don't be intimidated by the guys that like can't even, they can't scratch their own backs because their shoulders are too big for their own good. As long as you can scratch your own back with your 2 hands, you're doing all right.
Yeah.
But there is that level of intimidation. I mean, I would imagine there's a degree of coaching you offer these clients as well.
Yes, I also am not a private trainer. I'm a group fitness class trainer. So I'm used to working with large groups. And that's why I like to do it together, because we all have to, you guys have to I can't be barking at you something and then tell you to do it and do it harder and do it better and do it more. If I'm not doing it with you, no. I mean, respectfully, there are other people that do it and they're great. And you can't do everything every single time, especially if you do 7 hours a day. But you have to be able to do most of it. You have to understand what they're going through. I've been a student, obviously, before I'm this. I know what they're going through. I know that it hurts. I know that it's hard. I know that it could be intimidating. I know that it's heavy. I know that you want to stop when it's like second 54 and you have 7 more to go. And those are going to make the big difference. So that's part.
Do you look to some of the legends like a Richard Simmons or a Jane Fonda, Billy Blanks, or Susan
Schwarzenegger?
Susan Powder?
Also? Yes, absolutely do. I absolutely do. And God bless them, because when I was younger, I was almost like snarky. When I first came to from Italy to here, there were very little fitness here. And the only person that we would know in Italy, and that people talked about it, was Jane Fonda. Mm-hmm. But they would do it in a way that
with their VHS tapes.
Yeah, so VHS tape, and they would make fun of her. And here I am going through New York City because I came from Italy, and now I'm in New York City and I'm gaining weight because I'm
because the hot dogs and pretzels are really,
correct,
really tasty.
And it's not my diet, and I don't really know what to eat, and many reasons. But
best pizza in the world. I'm sorry. I'm just so sorry.
There's also many other things, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm gaining weight. What am I going to do? And I didn't really exercise as much in Italy. You do outdoor stuff. So I was forced to figure it out a way to exercise here, and that's how I started to look at different exercise facility, and I started my career, quote unquote, at the time as a student. So yes, these people that now are icons for me were really important.
Right, because there was no gym culture.
There was no gym
in the
culture.
90s. Even, I think like New York Sports Club was one of the first like membership-based franchises in the city.
And there was
only Gold's Gym, maybe?
Gold's Gym. There was actually, when I was close to where I lived, there was Gold Gym, but I couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
It was too expensive. But I was like looking through the windows. I'm like, oh my God, those people. But it was machines. I didn't know what. And then I stumbled to a place called Pumping Iron, actually where they did the movie. And I started to...
Was that Schwarzenegger's gym?
Was not Schwarzenegger because it was in California, but it was that kind of mentality of really bodybuilding. So there were no women. There were only like 2 or 3 women, but I loved it. And I went in, my little Italian body, and really little, and I wanted to learn, and that's where my foundation of the understanding and the importance of strength came into place.
When did this become a real business model for you?
About 3 or 4 years after I was a student, I also started taking classes. At the time, there was a place in New York City called Jeff Martin's Studio for the older generation that might remember. And I started taking what they were really aerobics. At the time, it was called aerobics.
Aerobics.
Yes. It was high-low, high impact. And I was the same time I was a karate student. So I would go into my karate dojo. It's totally serious. You can't smile. You don't say anything. You just learn. You're a student and you're going to be beaten up kind of thing. And then every now and then I would take this fun aerobics classes where people were dancing with music and literally leg warmers. And I was like, why don't we combine the 2 things, the discipline, but the fun? And that's how the whole concept of Power Strike started back then.
Everyone always likes a happy ending. And clearly this is a very grateful ending. And I feel like let's not hope you have to go through this again, but do you live with scanxiety, and has that subsided a little bit, or it's always going to be there? The lingering, every headache's a thing.
I think worse now. Exactly. I think worse. One of my biggest fear after I got the first diagnosis and I had the first mastectomy, and then you'll say, did you ever was in your normal? Kind of. But in my head, I was always afraid, what if it comes back? Mm-hmm. I had seen friends that it came back, and it seemed to me that the second time that they had cancer was worse. So I was always afraid that if something would come back, would be worse. So when I was told that I had cancer again, part of me knew the journey, knew the pain that you have to go through, the surgery, the blah, 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 the tubes, the drains, and all of that. So that's better because you know what to expect and what to do. But it was worse because I was like, oh my God, it came back. Now what? Does it mean am I going to die? Mm-hmm. Am I going to be the kind of person that if it comes back once, I don't even want to say it because I don't want to put anything in the universe. Nothing. Yeah. However, yes, that scare is there.
We call that a kinahara in Yiddish, which is a vex on the universe upon yourself.
Okay, that.
Yes, you don't want no kinaharas here.
No, I don't want
wood. Knock lots of wood.
Kinahara?
Yeah, kinahara.
Nope.
I just taught you Yiddish.
Thank you.
You're now Jewish.
Thank you. No, I don't want that.
So as much of a campy cat poster question this is what would you say to yourself today that you wished someone told you back then?
Don't rush the process and continue to believe that what you've always believed, that exercise does make you strong for life. It does, physically and especially emotionally, because as you very well know, and I think anybody that has not just cancer but really serious illness, your emotional state will then dictate how much you're going to recover and how well you're going to recover.
Well said. There's no good Hallmark card for this shit.
No.
So you had a very linear career trajectory for the right reasons. What else can we expect of you? What are your goals and visions?
It's one of the things, thank you for having me in your podcast, and it's continue to tell people and give people my message that it's all based about training and strength training, but exercise makes you stronger for life. And again, no, it will not prevent you from getting sick, whether it's cancer, whether it might be a car accident. They just drive over you. It could be anything. It will not prevent that, but It will help you deal with the challenges that life throws at you. Physical, mental, there are always going to be challenges. That's my way. I'm sure there are many other ways. Some people go to church, and all of them are great. My message is stay with exercise because you're only going to benefit from it.
It's the least you could do.
It's the least you could. You owe it to yourself, even if you never have any problems or any, obviously, exercise. Be a strong person.
All right. Bonus round here.
Okay.
Is every guest, as much as I despise AI, and speaking of Schwarzenegger, it's all the Terminator that's going to kill us one of these days.
Basically.
I did ask it if you were any one combination of TV or film stars, who would you be? And I could read you the answers, but you want to take a guess of what AI thinks you are from a TV film? All right, you are a combination of Sarah Connor from the Terminator.
Oof.
Very appropriate. Gal Gadot from Wonder Woman. Uma Thurman's Kill Bill, I guess, for the katanas.
Yes.
Sigourney Weaver in Aliens. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a pretty decent little mashup.
I love them.
You can own that. I will give you the paper to frame.
I love all of them. I love all of them, of course.
So allow me to botch your name one more time, and then you can correct me. By the way, can you just say mozzarella parmesan for me for fun?
In Italiano?
Yeah.
Mozzarella e parmigiano.
Oh, God.
Okay.
Poetry. Poetry. Okay, I love it. Ilaria Montagnani?
Montagnani, bravissimo.
Oh, my God.
Bravo,
okay.
bravo.
Molto bene.
Bravissimo.
That's a spicy meatball, just for the second time. Founder and CEO of Powerstrike. The girl's so nice she got cancer twice. You are amazing. The documentary is called Stronger for Life, available on Apple TV, Amazon, YouTube, other things?
YouTube, yes. iTunes is also very easy to access it. Yeah.
We will put links in the episode description. I'm honored to have you on the show. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me in your show. And thank you.
I'll say that again.
Thank you for having me on your show. And thank you for allowing me to give my message and also to meet you and hear your story in person.
All right. Keep on keeping on. A phrase I hate, but it's very appropriate right now.
Keep on.
All right, folks. See you next time. Later.
Out of Patience with Matthew Zachary is a production of Matthew Zachary Worldwide. The executive producer is Matthew Zachary. It is mixed and edited by Kyle Moore. If you like the show, ratings and reviews are always welcome wherever you get your podcasts. If you have guest suggestions or would like to learn more about sponsorship opportunities, email podcast@matthewzachary.com. For more information about Matthew Zachary and Matthew Zachary Worldwide, visit matthewzachary.com.
Are you looking for a new job or want a career change? Look no further than Monster.com. Need a little help standing out? Our expert resume writing services will make sure you shine. Want to brush up on your interview skills? Engage with our AI interview prep tool. Want some advice on negotiating your new salary? Visit our salary tools and extensive library of career advice articles, and you'll have all the tips and tricks you'll need to succeed. Visit Monster.com today and take the first step towards your career. Monster.com. Find your right job fit.